Peace, brothers and sisters who have arrived here on this channel. We are in one of the highest, if not the highest, watch possibility for the rapture to happen within 2 weeks on the feast of Purim, the feast of Esther, the feast that we are waiting for Jesus to still fulfill since his first coming, the feast that there is a deliverance associated with it, and the feast where Pisces, the fish, the 153 fish that were caught, is highlighted in the skies, while the full moon will be in Virgo, the Virgin, symbolizing Esther, also symbolizing the church. So a very high rapture possibility within just 2 weeks of the true Feast of Purim. It is a week, I would say, of Purim because it starts on the 21st of March when Esther starts her starts to not eat food. So she doesn't eat food to enter the king's presence, and at that time it starts, and then all the way until Purim, the 24th to the 25th, and Sheshwan Purim, the 26th. So we are in a very high watch possibility for the rapture to happen. And you have been watching, if you have been watching my previous videos here on my channel, those that I did in English, basically all of those that are appearing here, they are confirmations about the Esther Purim rapture. So we have been receiving a lot of confirmations to a Purim rapture, all the way from geopolitical events to celestial events, coincidences from celestial events, more Purim pieces that are coming together, and also evidences from propaganda all over the world. So we have been seeing this, and we will quickly summarize this all for you in a way that it is easier for you to see and understand how strong this possibility of the rapture is. So in my previous video, I showed you guys here that a menorah appeared in the skies with the planets, moon, and stars on the 12th of March 2024. That is precisely the first day of the month of Pisces, the month of Adar, the last month of the Hebrew calendar, just before the first month of Nisan, the month of Aries, which changes the year for the Bible. So this is the last month of the year for us, for the Bible. So like a December for us. And on the 12th of March, which is the first day of Adar, the first day of Pisces, that's when a menorah appeared in the skies in the form of planets aligning with the sun and the moon to form here 7 luminaries following the sun, which is the 7 churches, the 7 spirits of God. And this is very, very strong because not only this was something new that we just received after many confirmations, but this is highlighting the church, highlighting the constellation of the church, which is Pisces, and highlighting here the spirits of God that will be taken into the rapture towards the throne of God. So this is very, very strong that we received this confirmation a while back, and this is the cover of this video here because it's very, very strong, and we just passed this alignment here, but there's even more. Another part of this confirmation that you guys had seen on my previous video as well is that an asteroid called Esther, this asteroid here crowns the constellation of Virgo like this, in this motion here, precisely in January for us, which was the month of Tevet, the 10th month, the month that, according to the story of Esther, she was crowned. So an asteroid called Esther crowned Virgo, the woman in the skies, exactly in the month that Esther was crowned. This is very, very strong, and it is the luminaries in the skies telling us the same story. If this was just an alone confirmation, it would have been already very strong. But this comes together with this confirmation here that the same identical solar and lunar eclipses that happened in the story of Esther on the year 480 before Christ, those are happening precisely on 2024 again. So the same solar and lunar eclipses happening or happened in the story of Esther are happening in 2024. Almost 2,500 years later, they are following basically on the exact same date, on the exact same format here for following the story of Esther. So adding this up, we get to a very, very high possibility for the rapture because the celestial signs are pointing to Purim. And to fulfill this even further, we know that the UN will make a pact, calling the Pact for the Future, exactly on the 23rd of September 2024. It is the 7-year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign in the sign of Virgo that everybody talked about in 2017, that spread a revival in the church, online church here, to perceive the signs of the end. And precisely on the 7-year anniversary, that's when the UN will make this 7 years pact, calling the Pact for the Future, that they will add on the charter of the UN. So they will put this as a document that they must fulfill all the nations of the UN. And that's most likely the fulfillment of Daniel 9:27, where the Antichrist will make an agreement with many for 7 years, precisely on this date. And we know that this date here is exactly 6 months after Purim. And that's so strong because we have this typology in the Bible where David, a type of Jesus, ruled from Hebron, the city of the Gentiles, for 7 years and 6 months, while the Jews in Israel, they were following another king, a false king. So David ruled from the Gentiles' land, Hebron, for 7 years, which is the period of the tribulation, plus 6 months. So it is very likely that the rapture happens 6 months before the signing of this pact, this agreement of Daniel 9:27. And Purim is precisely on this year, 7 years away, 6 months away from the Pact for the Future, that they chose this date, the date of the 7-year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign, which is even before Feast of Trumpets. So they chose this date, and this date is precisely 6 months after Purim. So we have been seeing here so many confirmations that I know sometimes it is very hard to perceive how close we are to the rapture, even though the signs are screaming at us, because it is impossible for the carnal mind to believe that there isn't more time on this earth. Our carnal mind wants to keep on believing that there are more time on this earth, even though we are seeing the signs screaming at us. The carnal man inside of us is always trying to have more time on this earth, working their best, trying to flee death, right? So the carnal man inside of each and one of us, it's impossible for the carnal mind to believe. And although the signs are screaming, I know sometimes how some of you guys feel, as you do have that feeling that, well, maybe this is just another date that passes. But seeing what we have been seeing here, it's very, very unlikely, because the sun, moon, and stars are pointing, the asteroids are pointing, even the luminaries here, the planets are pointing the constellation, and there's even more because the geopolitical events are pointing, and Israel is also pointing because the red heifer is ready to be sacrificed. So they are preparing the sacrifice of the red heifer, which they believe will purify them. The ashes of this cow will purify them for the construction of the third temple. So the Jews are ready to receive their false Messiah for now, because they're still trying to sacrifice animals in order to be purified from their sins. So what is very interesting that I found out about this red heifer here is the following. So on March here, on Shabbat.org, exactly here on the 30th of March, on this Shabbat for them, that's when they read a precise part of the Bible, the 20th of Adar for them here, March 30. And that's when they read the details of the laws of the red heifer. So this Shabbat here, is a very good candidate for them to sacrifice the red heifer just a few days after Purim. So imagine the rapture happening in Purim from the 21st all the way to the 25th or 26th, early on the daytime. And then after 3 days, on the 4th day, they read and sacrifice the red heifer here in a preparation for the upcoming festival of Passover, because they don't need the red heifer on Passover. They just need the ashes of the red heifer for the ritual of purification on Passover. So very interesting that it's just after 3 days of the Purim season there, that's when they might sacrifice the red heifer, which is ready. It cannot be delayed, otherwise they will have to wait, I don't know how many years. They have been waiting for 2,000 years for this red heifer to be sacrificed. So they cannot wait anymore, otherwise it will be too old for the sacrifice. So they must do this before Passover. And the 30th of March is right after Purim, and that's when they read about it. That's most likely when they will do this ritual in order for have the ashes to apply on Passover. And on March the 30th, that's the eve of the Catholic Easter. I don't call it Passover because it's not Passover, the correct one. It's just what they call Passover. It's actually their feast of Easter here. But it is associated with, or supposed to be associated with Passover, of the Christ Passover. But it is on the wrong date, on the wrong season. They are calling it because of tradition of men, tradition of Catholic Church, and it's going to fall on the eve of the Easter for them. So the Catholic Church will be aligned with the Jews there on this wrong date, as the Jews for the sacrifice of an offering here of the red heifer, and the Catholic will be on this Easter thinking that it is Jesus Passover, but it's not. And we have here that they still did not understand Christ's sacrifice. That's why they are trying to be purified from their sins through animals' blood, because they don't perceive that the Son of the Most High came here to give his own blood for our purification, and that's once and for all. So that's why they're still trying to approach God through these old rituals that was instituted in the Bible. So they are ready to sacrifice. They are ready to bring back this third temple. They are ready to bring out a new or another Messiah for them that will accept those offerings. But that's not going to be Jesus, because he was the offering. And this is also a form of denial of Christ's blood again. That's why I believe the tribulation will come for them, in order for them to perceive that animals cannot save, but the blood of the Son of the Most High. So it's already here on YouTube. I found some videos some beloved brothers and sisters sent me about this to take place. So we are seeing here on many places, they're talking about the red heifer here, about to be sacrificed. And they already have it ready, have all of the things to set up. And I believe they even have the land to do it. So this must happen this year. They won't have another year to wait for this. So in our case, it is even more confirmation that we must leave before this happens, before they accept another Messiah, before the Antichrist even come. So it makes a lot of sense for us to leave before Passover, which is the month before Passover, the month of Adar, the month of Pisces, the month of Purim. And there's even more. There's even more because we saw that there is an alignment of the menorah in the skies in the month of Adar, in the month of Pisces, in the month of Esther. But it's not just this alignment, guys. It is a complete, total alignment because all of the planets in the skies, all of them are aligning at this moment towards this story being played in heaven. So you can see here, all of the planets, they are here, including the sun, the moon, and Pluto, which is not a planet anymore, and also Ceres, which is a very small, not considered to be planet as well, but it's right here on Sagittarius. So all of the celestial bodies that move around this line here, all of them are agglomerated here. They are together in this story, as if they are expecting a major thing to happen around here, the constellation of Pisces, a major story to be played out. So it's like all the witness of the skies are watching this time frame here. They're all aligning in one side. So I made sure to do it in this form of the sky clock for you guys to see. So right now, or a couple days from before today, the sun was entering the constellation of Pisces, while the moon, the new moon, was sighted here in the constellation of Pisces towards the constellation of Aries. That's how we know it is the 12th month, the month of Pisces, the month of Adar. And all of the planets were like this. They are still like this. So they are all within these 4 constellations here, which is a story being played out. And by the time we reach Purim, that's how it's going to be. So there's still going to be all around here aligning to the constellation of Pisces and close by to see what's going to be happening. So the Feast of Purim, the Feast of Esther, it is right here when the sun is pointing Pisces and the full moon will be pointing here Virgo. That's when we can see Purim. And those are the strongest watch times that we have all the way until Passover, when the sun is in the middle here of the constellation of Aries. Because that's when it will be highlighting the Pisces, which is the 153 fishes that will be rescued, the church, and also Virgo, the Virgin, which translates as the bride, Esther, and marriage. So very strong possibility, and all of the planets are aligning, not just the 7 there, luminaries, that are making the menorah in the skies, but those that cannot be seen by the naked eye as well. They're all there watching the story being unfold. So how crazy this is. How can you add more to this that is not as strong as this is? Because I know there are some brothers and sisters around in the internet. They are looking for Rapture dates on iPad Go 2, on propaganda, on the movie Matrix, and I don't condemn them for this, but to not look at Purim, the correct time for Purim, with all of this alignment in the skies, in the geopolitical events, in the celestial bodies, it is for me a willful ignorance. They are willful ignorance to this. If they look at the Matrix movie, if they look at the Super Bowl, if they look at old movies or propaganda or some Illuminati things in the internet, and they can draw rapture dates from that, if they can draw rapture dates from that, even more strong, this is because it is biblical, it is celestial, it is a perfect alignment in a pattern of events, a pattern of dates, the pattern that we know Jesus, our God, works. So for them not to perceive, not to call out this high possibility for the rapture happening in the Feast of Purim, they are being willful, ignorant for this. So pay attention to those that seems like they're trying to sway your attention from this high possibility, because there are so many things. Come on, the same solar and lunar eclipses in the story of Esther being replayed in 2024. We saw the asteroid called Esther crowning the Virgo on the 10th month, the month that Esther is crowned. We're seeing the UN pact precisely 6 months after the Purim and the menorah in the skies. Anybody that is not convinced that this is a real and strong possibility, they are being willful ignorant. And I know there are some beloved brothers and sisters, they are talking about this. Some are saying this is not the rapture. Although they are seeing all the connections, they are strong enough to say that this is not the rapture. All these connections is for something else, which I highly doubt, because we are in the year that the rapture must happen. Otherwise, we're going to see Israel rebuilding the temple, or trying to rebuild the temple, before even the Holy Spirit leave this earth. So some people are talking about that, but there are other small channels, some brothers and sisters that are talking about this. And I'm very glad that there are. One of them is our sister from Acro Symphony here. She's talking about the connections also to the eclipse. Good videos she's making. I'm watching them. I urge you to watch as well. That's her channel. She's receiving a lot of views lately. And she's talking about a lot of confirmations as well. We know Aaron from Gone a Minute. We know this sister, True Love Light. She's making amazing videos as well. And she is reaching the same time frame, the same season of Purim. So her watch date is the 22nd of March. Looking at, if I'm not mistaken here, the sun going through the waters of Aquarius. And she's looking at this possibility here, which will get the season of Purim. So she's making a lot of good videos as well. And we know Rock Island Book, I don't even need to introduce him. He's making great videos about this timeline here, which I agree. We are reaching 2024, which 2021 has got to be the second coming and the millennium. It is very hard for us to even perceive something different from this, because it will make a lot of patterns not align perfectly as this alignment here. So it makes a lot of sense. We studied this. We agreed to the 30 AD crucifixion. We agree here to the 2031 second coming, and 3031 end of the millennium. So great timeline here, which I also agree. So people are being aware that we are within the moment for the rapture of the church. And what better moment than the feast that Jesus still has yet to fulfill, which is the feast of marriage, the feast of Esther, the hidden one that is taken to the King of Kings there, a type of God. So we are seeing here a very, very high possibility, and I'm very glad that some brothers and sisters are watching this as well. And now, of course, this is not just it. I know you guys mostly know all of this confirmation that I already showed you guys, besides the full planet alignment. But I also have personal confirmations here. Personal confirmations in my own life that are also pointing to Purim, and this one is going to make you guys be very, very mind blown. So if it's all working out here, let's go to the personal confirmations about Purim. So the first one, a sister called Luciana sent me this news, and as I was reading it, I saw it. So let's go to the news. So she sent me this news here. Jerusalem rabbi becomes a father at the 88 years old. So 88 years old, the first thing that I perceive here, new beginnings, or 888 is Jesus. So 88 years old, very interesting. And he says, like our forefather, Abraham. So Abraham in the news because this rabbi at 88 years old becomes a father. This by itself is very strong because we know we just passed on February here, the 75 years of government of Israel. And by May 14 this year, they will become 76, if I'm not mistaken, years since their independence. So we're seeing that it is 75 years old when Abraham left his father's place to go to the promised land, and they just turned 75 years of government on February this year. So the birth and celebrations of the rabbi and his wife is welcoming the first child has been covered by the press. Many rejoicing the rarity and the significance of the birth. So they are expecting their Messiah, they're expecting this to happen, and we're seeing here that they believe it's like a sign for the Messiah. But I wanted to see how old was the wife of this rabbi that had this child, right? I was thinking that the possibility of she being as old as him, and that would be a huge miracle as well. So I was reading here. Rabbi, head of Jerusalem Yeshiva, has welcomed his first child at the age of 88. Sources confirm Sunday morning. His wife, who's probably approximately 56 years old, so it's still a miracle here. It's very rare. And from his second marriage, gave birth to their son at Hadassah Ein Keren Hospital. Guys, Hadassah is the name of Esther. Is the name that Esther had before becoming Esther. So Hadassah is the name of Esther. So when I saw this, I was like, wow. So the name of the hospital is the name of Esther. What an amazing confirmation here for this news on Jerusalem Post. So they were talking about this since the time of forefather Abraham. There hasn't been such a historic birth. They are regarding this as a very strong, very important moment. And the birth was on the hospital called Hadassah, the name of Esther. Amazing confirmation here. Amazing confirmation for Purim as well. So Esther being here highlighted once again. Now, another confirmation for me, which is 2. On my phone, I have the YouTube YouVersion Bible app. So I don't know if you guys have this Bible app or not, but I use the YouVersion one for a long, long time. Because this Bible app tracks how many days you've been consecutively in the app, how many days you have been reading, how many days, one after the other, you have been on the app. And this is a screenshot of my app today, on the 14th of March. So 23 and 11, so 2,311 days here, streak that I have been reading here, entering the app to read. And this here is very important for me because it is a form for me to create this habit to read the Word daily. And for me, this here have made me many confirmations on time. So I have had many confirmations simply by researching the Strong's number associated with the number of the streaks I have on key dates. So on past dates, I have received confirmations from it, and I wanted to see what appears on the dates of Purim this year. So Purim, we're going to consider the 25th of March, which is the date of the lunar eclipse, the date of the full moon, the date of Purim. The 25th of March is 11 days from now, so 11 days is 23, 22, the number of streaks that will be on the time of Purim. So let's check Strong's 23:22, and Strong's 23:22 is Hadasha. So wow, oh my God. So how can you possibly forge or fake this? So Hadasha, which is very close to the name Hadassah of Esther. It is so close that in Portuguese, this Hadasha name here, the name of a city, considered to be a city called New, a city in Judah, only appears once in Bible, and in Portuguese, it is even called here Hadassah. So there is no SH there. So it is Hadassah in Portuguese. In English, it is without the C there. So there is here Hadasha. So very similar, very close to the name of Esther, Hadassah. And that's precisely the strict dates that will be on Purim on my Bible app that I have been reading for the past 2,322 days. Wow, so this was mind blow for me. And I wanted to see some more strong numbers here as I was going through the season of Esther, because it starts when she fasts. I remember the word now. She fasts on the 21st all the way until Sheshwan Purim. So she fasts on the 21st, and the Shushan Purim goes up to the 26th, before the sunset on the 26th of March. So there is like almost 7 days here. That's why I wanted to check the other numbers. So Hodash, it is a new moon, a new month. Also an Israelite woman. Hadasha, the exactly date of the Purim here, which is very close to Hadassah, the Esther's name we just saw. It's also Hadasha 23:22a. 23:23, Hadat, new. And 23:24, Hava. Guys, seriously, the little girl that is coming in April from us, the one that will be born in April, the name that I gave her is without this C, without the sound of R, but it's Ava with an H in the end. So 23:24 is Hava. Wow. So very, very strong for me, a personal confirmation for me in the name of my yet to be born a little girl. And the definition here is show, to have. Amazing here. Esther and the confirmation of my child's to be born name. And in Hebrew, in Hebrew, 23:22 means therapia or therapia, which is attention, medical service, care, attention, special medical treatment. So healing, we can healing, focusing on reversal of the physical condition, illness, disease. So we itself carrying the responsibility of fully serving the Lord through it. So healing, we're going to be healed from our disease, the disease of sin, which we all carry, right? So very interesting here. Therapia, also 23:21. Theophilus, the friend of God, which is addressed by Luke. Theotos, deity, Godhead, so the Trinity. Therapia, therapeuo, therapon, a servant, an attendant, a minister. I care for, I attend, I treat. I believe. Yeah, 23:25. I reap, I gather, I harvest. Wow, amazing, amazing. How could I possibly see this 2,320 days ahead when I started to keep counting the streaks on the Bible app. Amazing, amazing. And it reaches to Purim precisely on the name of Esther and to reap, to harvest. Reaping, harvest, met. So terismos. Amazing confirmations here. Amazing. So to endorse this even further, guys, as you saw here, Hadassah is the name of a city very, very close to the name of Esther before becoming Esther, Hadassah. Perhaps she was born on this town, who knows? But this name here only appears in one place in the Bible, and this place is Joshua 15:37. So 1537. 153 is 153 fishes that are being caught in heaven. So that's the only place in the Bible that the name Hadassah appears, and that is on Joshua 15:37. 15:37, that's when the name Hadassah appears here, and that's the story of Joshua 153, the 153 fishes here. Amazing. So, of course, I had to research what is the Strong's for 1537. The Strong's for 1537, because of Joshua 15:37, is Gilgal. Come on, guys. Gilgal is the place that Joshua took the Israelites after crossing the Jordan towards the Promised Land. So right after they cross the Jordan towards the Promised Land, because Moses didn't cross them towards the Promised Land, that's when Joshua crossed them, and the place was called Gilgal, or Galilee. That's the Strong's for 1537. Oh my. So Galilee, the place where Joshua took the Israelites on the first time they crossed towards the Promised Land. Galilee is also the first miracle that Jesus performed, transforming water into wine, a symbol of the church as well. We're going to be transformed on his miracle there of the rapture. And he transformed the water into wine on a marriage, on a feast of a marriage. That's his first miracle, and that was on Galilee before Passover, which is Gilgal as well. So amazing confirmations here, personal confirmations that led me to this. And 153 is the fishes. 7 is completion. So perfect completion of the 153 fishes, which is the church that will be caught by this. And 1537 in Greek, it's called ek or X. It means from or out, from out of. And we know that X, the X eclipse, solar eclipse of judgment that will be happening on April 8th. That's an X eclipse, forming an X that we're going to be taken out of, from out of 1537. So I found this interesting as well. So many confirmations, personal confirmations to me here, that I was like, wow. So Esther is being applied. We're seeing the Joshua cross the land. We're seeing Gilgal, Galilee, the place that we're going to be arriving after we reach the Promised Land, 153 fish. Joshua is the one that takes us and is associated with healing, to take care of, to reap. All of this was already enough, but there's even more, guys. There's even more. There's even more here, and you guys are going to be mind blown by this as well. So, third confirmation here. Late night on March 12th, I had another gallbladder crisis. So it is a painful crisis that I have because of this. And although I was already medicating myself not to feel too much pain, as it happened on February for me, the pain was subsiding and then returning in the dawn. And then I had more medicine, and then subsided again, and then early in the morning I woke up to pain again. So I was feeling a pain much longer than I previously had. Never before I had the pain last for so long. So basically I spent the March 13th trying to find a specialized surgeon that would perform this surgery on me as soon as possible, because I'm already feeling symptoms of my gallbladder being inflamed. And that's a very serious life-threatening disease. So a very serious life-threatening disease. It is one of the highest death possibilities for young adults such as me because of genetics. So because of genetics, I have a faulty gallbladder, and that's when the sludge happens, the biliary sludge happens, and that can clog my pancreas, and that can cause very serious life-threatening diseases. So because of that, I spent the March 13th, and then take a look what happens. Long story short, right? After many unsuccessful attempts of reaching the same physician that performed this surgery on my mother, see, this is genetic, and after looking for one surgeon everywhere else, so I was looking for many surgeons all around my town, the neighbor towns around here, and it was very hard to reach them because they were just having time for look at me for another weeks or months ahead. So it was very hard. And the one that my mother had the surgery with, he was not being able to being reached by his telephone. So after many hours looking, one surgeon specifically answered me back saying that someone canceled their appointment exactly on that day, on March 13th, and I could take his place. Besides that, he was only going to charge me 1/3 of the full price for this appointment. So not only one person gave up on their appointment, canceled on that day that I was looking for, I was able to fit in that place, and that guy only charged me for 1/3 of the price, which is exactly what I had to expend. So amazing things that God was preparing here to me. And what happened after that? This all is an amazing preparation for God, but there's even more. So I was in a place I've never been before, at a time I didn't plan or chose. I was talking to a person I've never met before, and he saw the urgency on my case and scheduled me ahead of others to have this surgery on March 18th. So I have a surgery to remove the gallbladder on March 18th there. He put me ahead of many people that had scheduled this surgery as well. But because I'm feeling pain and he saw the urgency in my case, he scheduled me ahead of many people there. And after this appointment, I went to get groceries. And out of nowhere, guys, out of nowhere, my wife sees a familiar face exiting the market as we were going in. And this person here is a brother that is very famous here on Brazil for speaking out against the agenda of the New World Order. So he spoke out against this. He made many videos on the social media, so much so that he was persecuted. He was fined by the Supreme Court in Brazil, and because of that, he disappeared from all social media. And it's been almost like a year, so he totally disappeared. And out of nowhere, this brother was there exiting the market as we were going in, and my wife saw him. So just look how unlikely this is. Brazil is like a huge country. It's like the top 5 largest countries in the world. For an example, Brazil is larger than the US if you do not count Alaska. So it's a very large country. And my town here has about 150,000 people living in it. So this guy here, this brother, who disappeared from social media a while back, suddenly not only was in my hometown, but he was exactly exiting the same market at the same time as we were going in. And I was on a schedule that I had no control over whatsoever, because it was the first time I met this physician, the first time I was in his office, the first time he spoke to me, he spent the time with me there. To meet this person here, it's completely crazy. Like sort of like finding Dr. Barry All in one of your small towns in Texas, kind of a deal. It was very crazy to find this person here. And if I was just a few seconds faster or slower than I was in that day, I might not have encountered him. But it happened. This encounter happened. And what's more interesting than all of this is that his name is not a common name in Brazil. And his name is called Esdras, or Ezra in English. In Portuguese it's Esdras, but in English it's Ezra. And once I got home, I wanted to check, right? Because it had been an incredible chain of events leading me to this person, leading me to his name. And imagine the look on my face when I researched about Ezra or Esdras. So the name Esdras, which is translated as Ezra in English, appears for the first time in the Bible on Ezra 7, chapter 1. When Ezra goes to Jerusalem. And take a look. After these things, during the reign of Artaxerxes, the king of Persia, guys, Artaxerxes is the king that marries Esther. How can you possibly create such an incredible thing like this? So, this guy's name, this brother's name, is Esdras. I found him exactly at the same time on my hometown, on the same market. There are many markets, like many Walmarts in my town here. He was in the same place at the same time. His name is Ezra, and the first time that Ezra is mentioned in the Bible is during the reign of Artaxerxes, the king of Persia, which is the king that marries Esther. Come on, this is just too much for me. This was like I had to leave the computer after this because it was just too much. It is insane if you think about it. It is not possible for anybody to just simply create this situation. This guy who left, who disappeared from social media, was there on my town, in that place, in that hour, in that moment. And his name is a biblical name, not a common name, which appears when the king that marries Esther appears. So this is totally insane for me. And I had basically 3 confirmations in my personal life about Esther, about Hadassah, the name of Esther, about the king of Esther, Artaxerxes, and I'm convinced, guys. I'm very convinced. I couldn't be more convinced. So wrapping up, I'm very convinced that indeed the rapture is just around the corner on the next full moon, which is at the Esther eclipse. I received too many confirmations everywhere from the skies, geopolitical events. Since last year, I've been talking about this possibility, and my personal life here is even stronger confirmations that I could possibly imagine or ask for. So I'm really hoping that you guys believe this, even though we have this carnal mind inside of us, living within us, that doesn't want to believe because it wants to live on this earth. I ask you to pray and lift up your spirits because we are seeing the end of it. We are wrapping this up because everything is ready for us to leave. And the Feast of Purim is indeed the last feast of the year and the last feast that Jesus has to fulfill. It is considered to be a marriage. Esther means to hide or hidden, and it has everything to do with this. I'm very sorry for the brothers and sisters around the internet who cannot perceive this because it's just beautifully amazing. The confirmations are so much I couldn't even believe on my own personal life. And I'm very sorry for those that are being willful, ignorant, not looking at such an amazing time frame as this. Also, on March 10th was my son's first birthday here. So this is a small picture that I took. That's our family here. He had his first birthday and I believe his last birthday on Earth because we're living. But on March 18th, that's going to be my surgery. So please, guys, pray for me. I really want to be here by the rapture and not be resurrected. So pray for me that everything goes well, that I might be with you guys in the rapture very soon, because I believe on around March 25th, the rapture should happen on the Feast of Purim. Should be on the 21st, 22nd, possibly. That's when Esther started to fast. On the 23rd, 24th, possibly as well, or on the 25th, all the way until the 26th. That's the time frame that we have to expect the rapture of the church. Earlier, right in the middle, or in the late hours there. That's our possibility for the rapture of the church. So please pray for me. Pray that this goes well. Pray that we're going to all be together in the rapture very, very soon. I'm really feeling like this. I've been on the internet doing videos for the past 7 years, and I never have seen such an amazing alignment like those we are seeing right now. So blessed are those that watched this video, that understood this video. They're also watching, hyped for this possibility, because we're seeing amazing moments that may just lead us towards the rapture. And honestly, this has got to be it, because everything is set up. Even the geopolitical events, even the UN is marking a pact for the future to enter the charter of the UN exactly 6 months after this. So everything is aligned, everything is correct, everything seems fit, even on my own personal life. So guys, be prepared, be ready. We might just be within 2 weeks of the rapture. I'm really hoping that it is earlier, the 21st, perhaps 22nd, or if it's not on the 24th or 25th, that might just be it. And I'm really hoping to see all of you guys there, because you guys have been here with us as well, following, watching, believing, spreading the message. And this is just beautiful for God, beautiful for the body of Christ, beautiful for the church that has been watching for the past 7 years. So I pray that this is it. Maranatha. I hope to see you guys very, very soon in the kingdom of our beloved God and Savior, Jesus Christ, Yahushua HaMashiach. Maranatha. God bless each and every one of you guys and keep you until the hour of redemption. Amen. Maranatha, guys. Maranatha.